Hello, I welcome you to today's lesson. My name is Paul Williams Ofori. Today we have science for basic 5. Science for basic 5. So if you are in basic 5, today's lesson is for you. Today we are going to look at water. Something unique that you've not heard before about water. Even if you have heard it before, today we are going to talk about it. I'm going to teach you to know more about it. Okay, today's lesson, we are looking at strand 2, that is cycles. The next one, that is sub-strand 1, we have earth science. The indicator is here. Demonstrate evaporation and condensation as important process of the hydrological or water cycle. So today's topic is what? Importance of evaporation and condensation in water cycle. I'm taking it again. Importance of evaporation and condensation in water cycle. So today we are going to look at water. How it moves in cycle. How water moves in what? Cycle. The movement of what? Water from the earth to the atmosphere, then come back to earth. How water moves from earth to the atmosphere and how it moves from the atmosphere to the earth again. So water moves like that. It doesn't stop. It's a continuous thing. So if you hear water cycle, we are talking about the movement of water from the surface of the earth to the atmosphere, then come back to the earth again. You don't understand? You understand? The water that we have, it moves up, it goes into the atmosphere. Somebody is asking, but say, if the water goes into the atmosphere, we have not seen water going into the atmosphere before. So how is this possible? Don't worry. You will get to know why the water goes into, or how the water goes into the atmosphere. And then come back and go again, come back, go again, come back. In that continuous way, it doesn't stop. It goes and come back. It happens in a cycle. So we call it water cycle. Water cycle. Another name for water cycle is hydrological cycle. Hydrological cycle. Okay. So in this lesson, there are some key words that we need to know. The first one is evaporation. Evaporation. That is when water turns into water vapor. So evaporation is a process where water changes or turns into what? Water vapor. The next one is precipitation. 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 So precipitation also means water or solid substance falling from where? The clouds to the earth. So the rain is a type of precipitation. Snow is a type of precipitation. We have sleet. It's also a type of precipitation. And then we have hail, another type of precipitation. Precipitation is all about water or frozen water falling from the clouds to the earth. So it happens in different form. Some come as rainwater, some come in solid form like ice. Some places they call it snow, some places they call it hail, some places they call it sleet. It all depends on the size. It all depends on how it is formed. Some form like a big ice. Some also form like pebbles, the size. Some also form like flakes of something. So these are the things that fall from the clouds to the earth, and we call it what? Precipitation. The process of these falling down, or these substances falling onto the earth, we call it what? Precipitation. So anytime you hear about precipitation, we are talking about rain, we are talking about snow, we are talking about sleet, we are talking about hail moving or falling from the clouds to the surface of earth. Okay, the next word is condensation. Condensation. So condensation is also a process where water vapor changes to water. So water vapor, it can change to what? Water again. The process by which this water vapor changes to water is called condensation. The last one that we have is hydrological. The word hydro means water. The word hydro means what? Water. So hydrological, we are talking about movement of water. Movement of water. So today's lesson is all about water. So we are going to look at how water moves from the surface of the earth to the atmosphere and then come back to the earth again. And that is water cycle. And there are some two processes that play major role in the movement of water, and they are evaporation and condensation. These two processes, they play major role. There are other processes that also occur in the water cycle. Okay, so let's look at it. What is evaporation and condensation? So evaporation is a process in which water is changed into water vapor, that is gas, by heat. Heat is the main cause of evaporation. The sun heats water bodies like the streams, rivers, lakes, and others. Some amount of the water turn into water vapor, that is gas, and move into the atmosphere. So the sun shines, and when the sun shines, it heats up the water bodies. So when these water bodies get heated, portion of it turns into vapor. Portion of it turns into vapor. So they move or they rise into the atmosphere. They rise into the atmosphere. The water will change into what? Water vapor. And the vapor or the water vapor will move into what? The atmosphere. So this is how water moves from the surface of the earth to the atmosphere. It can only move when the water has been heated and what? Evaporated. So if the water gets heated, it evaporates. To evaporate means it turns into what? Water vapor, and it goes into the atmosphere. So this is how water is able to go into the atmosphere. This thing happens, we can't see with our eyes, but it's something that happens. Okay, so in evaporation, without heat, there is no way evaporation can take place. Evaporation takes place only when there is what? Heat. The heat will cause the water to change. The heat will change the water to water vapor. So if there is no heat, there is no way evaporation will take place. Okay, now the sun is the only source of heat. In water cycle, the sun is the only source of heat. Okay, the next word is condensation. It is a process in which water vapor, that is the gas, changes from gaseous state to liquid, that is water, by cooling. So after evaporation has taken place, the water components or the water will turn into water vapor, goes into the atmosphere. When it gets to the atmosphere, let me tell you, the atmosphere over there, the temperature is not hot. The temperature is very cool. That place is very cool. So the atmosphere is so cool. Anything that goes there becomes very cold. So the water vapor goes there, and the nature of the atmosphere, because it is very cold, it changes it from vapor or water vapor into water droplets. These water droplets will what? Will form in the atmosphere to the extent that it will become so heavy to be contained in the atmosphere. It forms the clouds. So when it becomes so heavy and it cannot be contained in the atmosphere, it has to come down. When it is coming, some come as water, some also come as snow, some also come as hail, some also come as sleet. So these four things that happens during precipitation. I have explained to you that precipitation is when the water or the rain or the ice are falling. That is precipitation. So when it is happening, it is only rain that comes as liquid. The rest come as solid, because snow is solid, sleet is solid, hail too is solid. So when the vapor gets into the atmosphere, the clouds that it forms, the water becomes so cold to the extent that some changes into rock that falls as snow, that falls as sleet, that falls as hail, and some too do not change into rock. Some come as water. Okay, and you should also understand that without cooling, condensation cannot take place, and without heating, evaporation cannot take place. So cooling changes water vapor, that is a gas, into what? Liquid. In water cycle, the water bodies on earth evaporate or change into water vapor and go into the atmosphere. The cooling nature of the atmosphere changes the water vapor, that is a gas, back into water again. So let's look at this. Evaporation. This is evaporation. So you see, this is the sun. This is the sun. The sun produces heat. So the heat from the sun will cause these water bodies to evaporate, to turn into water vapor. Not all portion of it will change to vapor. So this is what you see. The vapor will be going like this. That's a rising water vapor. So when the water gets heated, it changes into vapor and it goes like this. It goes like this. So this is evaporation. This process is what? Evaporation. And evaporation, I've told you that without a source of heat, evaporation cannot take place. So the source of heat is the sun. The water body the water that changes into water vapor is here. So this is not a particular water. It could be stream, could be river, it could be the sea, it could be the lake, it could be, just mention them, the pond. All these water bodies, when the sun heats them up, they turn into water vapor and goes straight into the atmosphere. So the water vapor, you see, it goes up, rising water vapor, it goes up. Okay. Now we have this here, that is condensation. I told you that condensation cannot happen if there is nothing to cool the air or the vapor. So for condensation to happen, we need something that will cool it. Now what will cool the vapor? To the extent that the vapor will change from gas to liquid, is the atmosphere. The atmosphere, that place, the atmosphere is very cold. So when the vapor goes up like this, they are changed into what? Into water. These water, small water particles or droplets, come together to form clouds. So you see the cloud here. You see the clouds here. So the clouds will be there. It will get to a point that it will become so heavy that it cannot be contained in the atmosphere. So it needs to come back. And the process of it is what we call precipitation. By here, the water that turn into vapor goes up like this. They go up. When they go up, they form this thing. This is the clouds, water vapor that has been formed or turned into clouds. So the clouds contain water. The clouds, it contains what? Water that has been changed. Water vapor that has been changed to what? Water. So this is what? Clouds. And the process is called what? Condensation. I said condensation is when water vapor, the water vapor from here going up, is changed into water. So when it changes into water, it forms this in the atmosphere. That is what we see as clouds. Okay, so this is condensation. Condensation. Without cooling nature of the atmosphere, there is no way the water vapor can change to water. And without the sun, there is no way the water can change to water vapor. So evaporation needs what? Will take place only when there is what? Source of heat. And condensation will also take place only when there is something to cool the vapor, the water vapor or the gas. Okay, so this is how it is done, or this is how evaporation and condensation is. Okay, now let's come to this side. There's an activity here. There's an activity here. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. This is what? Wet hand. This is dry hand. If your hands are wet and you just leave it like this, after some time the water will what? Your hands will become dry. The reason is that the heat in your body, the heat in the air around you will cause the wet or the water to evaporate. So this water, if your hand is like this, after some time it will become dry like this. You will not see the water again, but you only see something like this. The water will evaporate. The heat will cause it to what? To rise or turn into vapor, and now you get something like this. So evaporation needs heat before it can happen. Okay, now another one is here. This is evaporation and condensation. Look, we have water here in this kettle. The water will come here again. How possible is this? So this is how water cycle happens. Okay, I'm coming. This is how water cycle happens. So this is heat. This is water. When water is heated, it turns into water vapor. So the water vapor will pass here. And anytime you see water vapor, it goes into the atmosphere. Now when it goes to the atmosphere, I've told you that the atmosphere is very cool. So the cooling nature of the atmosphere will turn the vapor into water. So in this case, the water is being heated, the vapor is coming out, and it is what? Rising. The water vapor is rising. But here, there is something here. This is lid. This, we have ice cubes on top. So the lid and the ice cube will make the lid very cold. So when the vapor gets there, the lid, because it is cool, it will trap it. It will trap the vapor, and the vapor will change. That is where condensation happens. So when the vapor is changed to water, it will what? It will drop and come back. So the water was here, it went to the atmosphere, it has now come back. If you add or if you apply heat to it, it will evaporate again and go up. If there is something like this there, it will bring it down. Have you seen it? So this is how water cycle happens. Water cycle, the water goes into the atmosphere in the form of vapor, then it changes from water vapor to water again and comes back. So precipitation, this is precipitation. That is when liquid or solid substance or frozen water is falling from the clouds to the earth. So this is precipitation. What is happening here is condensation, and what is going on here is what? Evaporation. This is evaporation, condensation. And when it turns into water and it is coming down to the surface of the earth, we call it precipitation. And when in the water cycle, we can have rain, we can have snow, we can have, depending on the weather. But in Ghana, we don't experience snow. It's only rain that we experience as precipitation. Okay, so this is evaporation for you. I hope you now understand it. Now let's look at how evaporation and condensation lead to formation of rain. So how these two things lead to the formation of what? Rain. The water bodies such as the sea, lakes, river, and others get heated by the sun. The heat from the sun changes portion of the water into water vapor, which goes into the atmosphere in a process called what? Evaporation. Plants also lose water to the atmosphere in a process called transpiration. The water vapor that goes into the atmosphere is changed into water by cooling nature of the atmosphere in the process called condensation. When the clouds become heavy with this water, it is unable to hold the water in the atmosphere. The water falls down as rain in a process called precipitation. This is how rain is formed. So all the things that I've explained to you is here. You see this side, this is ocean, that is water body. It's what? Going under evaporation. So it's changing into vapor. When it gets here, it will change from water vapor to what? Water, to form clouds. And then when the clouds becomes heavy, it will come back to earth again as rain. When it comes here, it will just flow to this side to fill here. So the water here will go up, come down, go up again, come down in a cycle way or in a cycle manner. Have you seen it? So you should understand that evaporation needs the sun. Condensation also needs what? The cooling nature of the atmosphere. I hope you get it. Okay, so condensation and evaporation, they are two important processes that we can find in water cycle, hydrological cycle. Okay, so we are coming to the end, but let me take you back and then show you something here. So we are talking about how rain is formed. Okay, first, this is earth. This is earth. We have water. So this is land. This is land. We have plants here. So these are plants. We have water bodies, and the sun is here. So look at something. The sun will produce heat. The heat from the sun will turn the water into vapor. So the water will change to what? Vapor. And then go into the atmosphere. So this is water, vapor, going into the atmosphere. Have you seen it? That is called evaporation. That is when water is changed into water vapor. Okay. Now, the plants here, they also lose water into the atmosphere, and that process is called transpiration. That is also called transpiration. So transpiration will also take place because of what? The heat from the sun. So the plant will also give what? Water vapor, and water vapor will what? Also go up. So the water bodies and the plants, they all release what? Something, water, in the form of water vapor into the atmosphere. And from plants, we call it transpiration. From plants, we call it what? Transpiration. And if it happens by water, we call it evaporation. So if you are asked to give the difference between transpiration and evaporation, they all give what? Water vapor, or they what? Allow water vapor to go into the atmosphere. Water what? Turns into water vapor into the atmosphere. The plant also releases what? Water vapor into the atmosphere. But the difference is that evaporation takes place only with water, but transpiration also takes place only with plants. So plants causes evaporation, and water also causes what? Causes transpiration, and then water also causes what? Evaporation. Now, when the water vapor, let me clean this side. Let me also clean this. So let's bring our sun here. So the heat from the sun will hit the water and then the plants to release water into the atmosphere in the form of vapor. Now the water has gone up. When it goes up, the cloud is very cooled. So the water vapor will turn into water droplets. This water going up, it will turn into what? Water droplets. And it will form, come together. So when it comes together like that, it forms clouds. So the clouds that we see, it is what? Water vapor that has been changed. So you see this, you see them in the sky or in the atmosphere. So this is the water vapor that has formed water droplets. These water droplets, they come together to form the clouds. So when it becomes heavy, that it cannot be sustained, or it cannot be what? Contained over there, it comes down. So this water vapor that has been changed to water, which we see here as clouds, will later fall down. It falls down. Have you seen it? So it comes back. The water was here, it went up, and now when it got here, it has changed to, it went up in the form of vapor. When it got here, it has changed to what? Water. From vapor to water, and now from water back to earth again as rain. So this is what? Rain. So if it is raining, you should know that water moved up, formed clouds, and it is coming back again. The process where this water and other solid particles like snow, hail, and the rest falling to the surface again is called precipitation. So this is how water cycle is formed, or hydrological. So if you look at it well, you see that the water doesn't stay at one point. It doesn't stay only on land. it doesn't also stay only in the atmosphere. From the land or the earth to the atmosphere, and then it will come back again, and it will go like that. So it's like this. The water moves up, and when it gets here, it comes back again. When it comes back, it will go up again. So it's a movement cycle. Have you seen it? It's a cycle. So when you talk of water cycle, that is the movement of water from earth to the atmosphere and back to earth again. Some of the processes that are involved, we have evaporation. That is where water on earth turns into water vapor, goes into the atmosphere. Another one we have is transpiration. That is when plants give water vapor or release water vapor into the atmosphere. Evaporation and transpiration, they all occur as a result of what? Heat. As a result of what? Heat. But for water, it needs more heat before it can what? It can evaporate. Okay, so the heat, the vapor will go, and when it comes here, the water will be formed. The vapor will turn into water. So the water will be formed here, and after some time, it will come down. The process of it coming down is called precipitation, and the process where the water, the vapor is changing into water, is called condensation. So this is what water cycle looks like, or this is how water is formed. This is how rain is what? Formed. This is how rain is formed. So if you see that it is raining, remember that a lot of things have happened. Things that happened before the rain. We have evaporation, transpiration, we have condensation, and then the rain, which is a type of precipitation coming down. Okay, so this is what we have learned. We are coming to the end of our lesson, and I expect that you'll be able to answer all the questions. I expect that you'll be able to answer all the questions. So in summary, we have learned that water cycle is a continuous movement of water from the land to the atmosphere and back to the land again. The water cycle involves evaporation, transpiration, condensation, and precipitation. Heat causes evaporation and transpiration, while cooling also causes condensation. The water cycle does not have a beginning and an end. So there is no beginning, there is no end for water vapor. It is something that happens continuously. Today we have seen that water moves from the earth to the atmosphere. Now if I ask you how does water move from the earth to the atmosphere, I believe you can now explain to me how it moves. And you can also explain how rain falls or how rain is formed. Okay, let's look at the exercises. We have exercise 1. Oh, this is riddles. And then we have exercise 2. We have exercise 3, exercise 4, exercise 5, then home assignment 1 and home assignment 2. Now home assignment 1, in your own words, make a presentation to your siblings on how the water cycle happens. So in your own ways, how you understand the whole thing, present it to your siblings. Let them know how rain or water cycle happens, how water moves from earth to the atmosphere and come back to earth, goes back again, come back, goes like that. So from all the things that we have learned, I believe you can answer that question. Home assignment 2, explain to your parents the importance of water cycle to all living things. The movement of water, is it important? Think about it, and then let us know the importance of water cycle. The importance of water cycle to all living things. Yes, a lot of importance. I know you can tell, so think about it. This is the end of our lesson. My name is Paul Williams, but before, you go, let me tell you that this science book, we have copies. If you need copies, reach out to us. Apart from that, our video lessons too are on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Go there and watch our videos. We are teaching you what your teachers are teaching you in the classroom. Apart from science, we have Ghanaian language, that is Asante Tree and Equatorial Tree. If you need copies, just reach out to us. Our numbers are there. Remember that we are always here, and our main focus is you. We want you to learn something. We want you to understand what your teachers are teaching you. So if you don't understand anything here, feel free, go to them. If you learn something in the classroom that you don't understand, when you come to our platforms too, you can ask, we will help you. But tell your friends that they should go to the internet, search for Kokomoti series. They will see our videos and then they will also benefit from it. Remember to subscribe, follow, like, and share. That is the best way we can grow together. Thank you. Bye-bye.